I am Hazim from Ba Atal Education Center. I am here to teach the subject named Travel and Tourism for Grade 9. The topic I am going to teach today is Time Zone from Unit 2. Learning intention is, by this end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the 4 direction of GMT, identify the GMT line, identify prime meridian, identify longitude line and its use, state the total degree of a longitude line. Identify ideal, identify the degree ideal line is located, identify the 4 directions of ideal, state DST, and explain why some countries follow DST. Success criteria. You would be successful if you identify the 4 direction of GMT, identify the time of different countries, identify the 4 direction of ideal, state and describe DST.
Right. Now, I would like to give a brief introduction about this time zone. All right. What is the use of learning this time zone? Right. So the traveler may travel from one continent to another continent. Right. So they may travel for a long journey. So the time of the countries will be differ. Right. The time of the countries will be differ from one country to another or from one continent to another continent. So when they come to book a flight tickets or when they come to get some kind of inquiry about their travel, right? So they may ask some questions about their timing, when they will reach that destination, when we have to departure from here. So what will be the time of that country when we reach there? So you should be very clear of the time of different countries, right? So this topic will help you to know the time of different country, and you can be able to answer the questions of your traveler regarding the time of different countries. Now let's go to the topic first, right? So in this topic, what we are going to learn in this topic is, first we are going to learn the 4 direction, right? So let's look at what is the 4 direction we have. We have 4 direction. At the top of the map will be always north, and the bottom of the map will be always south, and the right hand side of the map will be always east, and the left hand side of it will be always west. So remember, when you look this map, the top of the map will be north and bottom will be south, and the right hand side will be east, and the left hand side will be always west. So these are the 4 directions we have, right? And now let's go, we are going to look here. What is mean by GMT, right? What is this GMT? The full form for GMT is Greenwich Mean Time, right? So what is mean by GMT? Full form for GMT is Greenwich Mean Time, right? Now, you may ask the question, right? What is mean by this Greenwich? Why the name comes like that, right? So why the name Greenwich? Why it's named as Greenwich, right? So the reason behind that is, and if you look here, this is the GMT line, right? The line exactly falls in, this is the UK, European country, right? So the line falls in UK, right? That's 0 degree. So in the place there is a village named that it's a kind of a village named Greenwich, right? So the line exactly falls the village named Greenwich, so it is called as Greenwich Mean Time, right? I hope that now you are clear why this line is named Greenwich Mean Time. The reason is the line exactly the 0 degree line exactly falls the village named Greenwich located in UK, so it's named Greenwich Mean Time. Now we are going to look here why it is known as green time. That I told you already, because the line exactly fall the village named Greenwich, so it is known as Greenwich Mean Time. And this Greenwich Mean Time has another name also, right? So this Greenwich mean time, this GMT line has other name. It is also called as prime meridian, right? So you can see here, prime meridian, right? So the GMT line is otherwise also called as prime meridian. Now, next we are going to look here, what is a longitude line, right? So what is longitude line? Now, if you look at this map, right, we can see there are many lines are here. Right? Can you see it here? 20 degree, 60 degree, 100 degree, 140, 180 degree. And you can see this side also. 20 degree, 60 degree, 100 degree, 180 and 190 degree, right? 140 and 180 degree. Now, this all the lines which falls from north to south, we can see many lines that falls from north to south. These lines are known as longitude lines, all right? So you can see here the 0 degree north to south, and you can see here 20 degree north to south, and you can see 60 degree from north to south. So these lines are known as a longitude line, right? What is the use of knowing this longitude line? What is the use of this longitude line? This longitude lines will help you to identify the time of different countries, right? So the line which falls from north to south, it's known as longitude line, and this longitude lines will help you to know the time or to identify the time of different countries. All right, and now we are going to look here. What is the total degree of longitude line? Right? How many degrees are there in longitude lines? All right. So if you look in this map, we have this is the 0 degree and 20 degree, 60, 100, 140 and 180 degree in from the center to east. And here also we have 20, 60, 100, 140, 180. So from the center to west we have another 180 degree. So if you add this 180 plus this 180, we will have 360 degrees. So how many degrees are there in longitude line is, so 360 degrees are there in longitude lines, right? So the longitude line has 360 degree. So remember, the center to east we have 180 degree, and from the center 0 degree to west we have 180 degree. Totally we have 360 degrees. All right. Now we are going to look next how to find the time of different countries, right? How to know the time of different countries, all right? So for example, now Maldives is 5 o'clock. What will be the time of UK, or what will be the time of Australia? So this longitude line will help you know it. Now let's learn here how to know this time of different countries. Now if we look at here, this is the 0 degree. We know what is the name of that. It is the GMT line, right? So this is +1, +2, +3, right? This right hand side will be always plus, right? And left hand side will be always minus, right? So now this right hand side will be advanced. The plus means it is advanced, and left hand side minus is behind, right? That means they are 1 day advanced in the right hand side, and the countries which are in the left hand side, they are 1 day behind, right? So that means we are 1 day advanced and they are 1 day behind, right? We are going faster than them in hours and a day, right? Now if you look here, you can see here the plus here, right? At the same time you can see here minus, right? So they are behind and we are advanced. Now let's look here how we identify the time. Now if you look here, London, it's 12 o'clock, right? London is 12 o'clock early morning, and the Maldives, you can see this is the Maldives, will be 5 o'clock at the morning. That means if you calculate 0 and 5, we are 5 hours advanced and they are behind 5 hours. Right? So that's what I told. The plus will be always advanced and the minus will be always behind or less than the number plus is which comes in the advance, right, that will be behind. Now look here very clearly. Beijing is in 8 o'clock, right, and Moscow is around 3 o'clock, right? So 3:30, right? So who is advanced here is Beijing is advanced and Moscow is behind, right? If you look here, Sydney is here, right? And Beijing is here, right? So Sydney is advanced and Beijing is behind, right? So remember here always, you have to remember here is the right hand side will be always advanced. The country which comes right hand side of any any countries in the left hand side, that will be left hand side countries will be behind and the right hand side countries will be always advanced, right? So this is Sydney is advanced and Beijing is behind. Now if you look here, Moscow is advanced because 3 and it's 0, so they are advanced. Moscow is advanced and London is behind. Now if you look here, Moscow is here and New York is here, so Moscow will be advanced and New York is behind because they are minus and they are the plus, right? So they are advanced and they are the behind. Now if you look here, New York and San Francisco, New York is advanced and San Francisco is behind. For example, New York is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So New York is 5 and that means the time of the standard time of San Francisco is 8, right? So that means that is minus 8 and this is minus 5, right? So that means Chicago is advanced, then San Francisco, and if you take Chicago and New York is advanced and Chicago is behind. So it's an easy method to understand the time is the countries which come right hand side of any country, that will be advanced, and the countries comes to the left hand side of any country, that will be behind. That's the easy method to understand, because the questions will be asked whether this country is advanced or behind of that particular country. So you have to remember, if that country comes in the right hand side of you, that will be advanced and the left hand country will be behind. All right. Now we are going to look here what is ideal, right? The next thing we are going to learn here, what is ideal. The full form for ideal is the International Dateline. Right, so the ideal is called International Dateline, right? So where this line is exactly located here, you can see this is known as International Dateline, right? So International Dateline, that is located exactly 190 degree from the north to south, right? So exactly 180 degree of the longitude line, the International Dateline is located. Now, we are seeing here GMT line is here. This is the GMT line, but at the same time, here is the ideal line is there. That is the International Dateline. You may ask, right? So that is the different two lines we have. GMT line is 0 degree here, and International line is at this 180 degree. That means it exactly locates behind GMT. All right. And next we are going to look here. Which degree ideal line is located? In which degree the ideal line is located? I already said that ideal line is exactly located at 180 degree. That line falls from north to south. So that is known as ideal line. And next we are going to look here which degree, why the ideal line is not straight like GMT line, right? So if you look here, this is 0 GMT line, and if you look here, International Dateline, right? Why the International Dateline is not like, it's not straight, it's why it's bending like that, because the reason for that is if the line falls straightly, it may divide the countries. That means a country with two different times will be take place, so it will make a lot of confuse. That's the reason they draw this line in a zigzag way. All right. And next we are going to look here the 4 directions of ideal. right? What is the fourth direction of ideal, right? So I'll show one more map here. This is the ideal line, exactly falls behind that, right? Now, here is also ideal line. GMT line is here, and backside of the GMT line, it's the ideal line, right? I told GMT is front, and behind the GMT line, that is known as ideal line. Now, we are going to look here, why the four directions of ideal. Now, we already seen here, GMT, this will be east, and this will be west, right? So GMT, the right hand side will be always east, and west hand side will be always left hand side will be always west. Now if we come to ideal, so where ideal is located is exactly backside of GMT. Now if you look here, GMT is here and ideal is back, right? So if GMT this is east, then for ideal it is west, right? So it will go directly opposite, right? When you turn the map, the direction will also change, right? When you turn the map, the direction will also change. Now look here, that means for GMT this is the west, for ideal it will be east, right? So that the same way the time also will be changed. If GMT this is advanced, then for ideal this line will be behind, right? If the country in GMT, if the country is advanced, when you turn the map, right, for ideal, that country will be goes to behind, right? So it will be directly opposite to GMT. The direction will be also directly goes opposite goes opposite, and also the time will also goes opposite, right, of the GMT. So remember, one more time I want to say here, this will be east for GMT and this will be west for GMT, and here this will be west for ideal and this will be east for ideal. That means it will be directly opposite, right? So this will not be advanced, this will be behind, and this side will be advanced. All right, so earlier we said right hand side will be advanced for GMT, but if comes ideal, the right hand side will be always behind for ideal, right? So the ideal time will be behind. All right, so make it very clear, GMT line, if it's advanced, then ideal it will be behind. If GMT it will be behind, then ideal it will be advanced. So directly opposite in it. Now we are going to look here. We are learned about the four directions of ideal and what is DST, right? So DST means it's a daylight save time, right? So DST is daylight save time, right? So the name clearly shows that daylight saving. They are saving the daytime, right? They are saving the light of the daytime. That's the name it clearly says. What is that DST? Right, the daylight save time, right? So you know some of the countries, what they used to do here is they will turn their clock advance 1 hour during the summertime. For example, now the time is 5 o'clock. For some countries who follow the daylight save time, the time is 5 o'clock. In summertime, they will put their clock to 6 o'clock. Right, so actually for us normally it will be 5 o'clock, but they put it to 6 o'clock in the summer time. And when it comes to winter time, they will put 1 hour behind, again back, they'll turn it to again 5, right? So the summertime they will go advanced, they will put the clock 1 hour advanced, and in the winter time they will turn back again to normal, right? They'll come to their normal time, keep the clock, right? So that's the reason what DST daylight, right? So what now we are going to look here, why that countries are following daylight save time, right? So if they keep their clock from 5 to 6, right, they change the time from 5 to 6, right? They tune their clock from 5 to 6, so they will wake up earlier, right? That means instead of waking up 5 o'clock, they wake up at 4 o'clock, they go to the offices, then they will save the electricity in the daytime because the sun will be rise of the summertime. They will have a good sunlight. So they'll go to the office, and after that, they use this electricity, what they saved in the daytime, in the night time, they will use that electricity. So that's the reason they are using this, follow this daylight save time. Now, okay, these are some of the questions from past paper. 2015 May June question 1A and 2015 November question 2B. So go to the past paper and practice these questions. Right? So I hope that you learn a lot about the time zone. So thank you so much.